find a spouse, a life partner, nobody needs to be on your couch after a date. Make sure that you see with the right eyes, the spirit eyes, and not your fleshly eyes. When that man might not have a job and he might not be able to provide, how is he going to treat you? You are marrying them for better or worse. So this, what you see now, might be the better. I am my plan. I got things to do. I got to take care of myself. I will get back to you 9 a.m. sharp. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, and today we're going to get into some Christian dating tips. This is mainly geared for the girlies, but this should be applicable for the most part for either gender. And I'm going to tell you, friend, this is going to save you time, going to conserve your energy, okay? It's going to help you guard your heart. It's going to make sure that you just weed out all the riffraff that you don't have time for. You know what I mean? So if you're ready, just stay tuned and let's go ahead and get into it. Everything else will flow a lot more smooth if you establish this first. So the first tip is that you really just need to establish your boundaries. And the reason why I say that is because everybody's boundaries are different. Everybody knows their triggers. Everybody knows what they're more likely to do, less likely to do. So you have to really tailor it to knowing yourself. So what I mean by established boundaries, example for me, I'm not inviting any person I'm interested in to my house. I've done that, okay? I've invited them into my space, my solitary space. When it doesn't work out or it's something that I no longer want, I get annoyed that I allowed them in my space, gave them my energy, let them around my sanctuary to some degree. And I'm like, well, you weren't even here for, a hop and a skip over the bridge. Like, that's not what I'm looking for. So I just say it's important to not invite people into your places that you live and don't go to their place. Especially if it's not really that serious, you're just getting to know them. It might be cute to cook dinner and whatnot, but I think just some things in the beginning, you do not need to be going to each other's spaces. And that's a really good boundary, because when there's no one else around, lots of things can happen that shouldn't be happening. I had a friend and she goes on dates, right? She goes out on these dates and she'd be like, oh yeah, he's really great, da-da-da-da. And I'd be like, okay, so what happened? She said, well, we do this, we went on a date, da-da-da, and then we went to my place. And I'm like, friend, you went to whose place? And she's like, my place. And like, when she's saying it, she's not saying that she wants something to happen, but what? Stuff can happen and is more likely to happen, or a slip up is almost guaranteed to happen. When you invite somebody into your space because there's nobody around, the setting is intimate, you know what I mean? Y'all getting close, cozy on the couch, whatever it is, and we just don't have time for that. If you're looking to find a spouse, a life partner, nobody needs to be on your couch after a date. Best believe that. Another kind of a midway point that might make it easier for you is do stuff during the day. The day is less sexy than the night. You know what I mean? So during the day, just do day dates. Do stuff maybe far away from your house, okay, where it's not easy just to skedaddle back to where you at. So do day dates, do picnics, do cute lunches, do shorter lunches, nothing too long where you spend it all day with them. Like stuff that's like simple. You go there, you do it, and you leave. And I don't mean to make it sound very transactional or quick, but the thing is, that's how you avoid all those temptations, or it helps you avoid temptations. You can weed out what's for you and what's not for you without all the extraness in between, right? I had suggested to my friend that she just do day dates. Like, we're gonna go get coffee or go get ice cream and walk around. It's free, bro, to just walk around a park or something. You don't have to go to a lunch or a dinner type thing. You could just go walk around, enjoy each other's presence, like get to just know each other. Because if you think about it, the goal is to really figure out if this person, even if you like them as a person, if you like what they're into, if you want to be around them, if they have infectious energy or not. You're trying to figure out if y'all are complementary. But when you're thinking about how cute their eyes look, how good they look in that jacket, how wonderful that cologne smells, it just muddies the waters a bit. So you want to be in places and spaces and do things that will help you from falling into that loophole, because I know how us girls can get. And you want to make sure that you see with the right eyes, the spirit eyes, and not your fleshly eyes. You know what I mean? I used to do this. I feel like everybody used to do this back in the day. But when you like somebody, you like to be on the phone with them for a long time. And even people who are dating, they'll be on the phone with their significant other for hours at a time. And I get it, like, it's your person, you want to hang out with them, you want to talk to them. Some people say they want to be in each other's skin, whatever it is. For me personally, I cannot do that. I would love to do that, but but I cannot do that because I think I lose sight of what I am on this earth to do, partially, and then also because then I just get wrapped up in whatever that person's doing every day. So talking to somebody for a long time, for hours upon hours, like if 1 hour max is your limit, good. I feel like an hour and a half is all you really need to talk to that person that day. You know what I'm saying? But for 3-4 hours sleeping on the phone at night, it's giving too much. It's giving too much because what do? We're trying to conserve your energy, conserve your time, conserve your mental space. And as wonderful as this, think about it. If there's an expensive dessert, right? An expensive dessert, you're not going to eat that dessert all the time. It's delicious. It's wonderful. It's expensive. You're going to sample it, okay? Sample it. You're going to, give yourself some of it over time, not all at once, a whole bunch of it at once, because that will cost too much, right? Same thing with dating. Like, let it flow. Don't do too much all at once, because then that's how things also fizzle out real fast, because you did everything in 5 seconds. So just give it some time to just breathe, okay? Talk to them for an hour and say, okay, hey, I got plans, I got things to do. I don't care if you don't got plans. Say, you know what? I am my plan. I got things to do. I got to take care of myself. I will get back to you. I will text you throughout the day, da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? But don't make your whole life about that person just because you're interested in them and vice versa, right? Because again, that's how you get tripped up. That's how you get confused. That's how you get all over the place. And we're not trying to do that. We're trying to find life partners, spouses, not booze for a month. That's not the goal. Speaking of talking on the phone for hours, another boundary could be, I'm not going to be talking to this man on the phone after 9 p.m. or after 10 p.m., right? Unless like maybe your schedules work out to where that might not work, who knows, but you're not talking to them late at night, because that's also where stuff creeps in. So you might say, you know what, after 10, I cannot be on the phone with you all night long. I'm so sorry. I cannot do that. I will talk to you tomorrow, 9 a.m. sharp. I don't know what it is, but we're not on the phone all night because we don't have time for that. I don't got time for that, and I need to get my beauty rest. You know what I'm saying? So not only are you not talking on the phone for hours, but you're also cutting off the time in which you can communicate, especially when it comes to the nighttime, right? So that's another thing, because nighttime conversations might be just a little bit different than a daytime conversation, okay? When the curtains is closed, the lights is off, you know what I'm saying? Let's just refrain from that kind of communication, and let's cut it off at a certain time, and let's go to sleep. You should be trying to find interest in people or men or women who are being held accountable. And specifically for the girlies, I mean, finding a man who might be in a small group, like he goes to church, there's people that he is around, he communicates with, if he has a mentor, like somebody who can hold him accountable to his actions, or he refers to when he has dilemmas or things like that. Because if you're talking to a man who purely listens to himself, or if he says just me and God, that's a red flag. Because that man is essentially, to some degree, his own God. He only answers to himself. And he can say answer to God all day, but God wants us to be in community. Why? Because we don't know everything. If we knew everything, we wouldn't need God. And imagine any person who's growing in Christ, it is really helpful to be discipled. It's helpful to have a mentor. Mind you, if the man you're interested in, his mentor is some guy's podcast where he's bashing women, maybe there's going to be an issue there. Think about who he's around, who holds him accountable, who he has to answer to outside of God, like just in the physical realm, who does he answer to, or who God has sent to hold him accountable, so that he's not just out here doing whatever he wants to do whenever he wants to do it. I think it's just as simple as joining a group. You can find other women or men who are on the same journey as you to hold you accountable and give you advice and just kind of help you get a different perspective. If you're only relying on your own perspective, like for example, when I'm creating content, I may think it looks one way, but my friend's like, hey girl, maybe take that out, or hey, maybe alter that picture a bit because it looks like this. Mind you, they're unbiased. You want unbiased people, or people who are going to be able to let the person you're interested in know that, hey, this ain't right, or okay, maybe we should do this differently. Because if they're accountable to themselves, that's going to be a problem. There's probably going to be a lot of bumping heads. And I also want to preface this because I did a long time ago get to know one guy who had spiritual counselors or whatever, or mentors in the church, and it was to the point where he was so biblically sound, if you want to call it that he literally left no room for empathy, no room for understanding, no room for really empathizing. And I know Jesus to be an empathizer. I know God to be an empathizer. He doesn't excuse bad behavior, but I'm saying he understands the plight of all of us. Like, he understands our plights. And I feel like in this guy, he was very like by the book, and it was really hypocritical to me. So find somebody who has balance, where he can rely on him and God, you know what I mean? Me and God, we good. But then also he's held accountable from, through other people. You want to see him, kind of be led, because I think it's easier later on in a marriage to submit to somebody who is submitted not only under God, but other mentors or spiritual guidance that can show if you want to be here, this is what you should be doing. And I also think it says a lot about his leadership. If he can be led, then he surely could probably be in a good space to lead you as well. This is a really good one, something that I really have to learn. It's very difficult for me, but I really have to learn. It is just to look and listen more than you speak. I think sometimes we can tend to over communicate, say I'm this, I'm that, almost like give a guy the full spiel on who you are as a person. And the thing is that this is not an interview, babe, okay? You're great. You are a God-fearing woman, okay, a God-fearing person. You don't need to sit there and give out your resume so that they can decide if they like you or not, right? You are there to collect information when you're on those dates, okay? Yes, you're wrapped up in, oh, they're cute, I like being around this person, wonderful, okay? But I promise you there's plenty of people you can go on a nice date with. If you're looking for a partner, a spouse, you need to be taking information, things about what they do say and what they do not say, because that also says a lot. So I think it's important just to sit back, observe more, still participate, engage, but observe more and look at what you see. Because there was a time where I had spoken to this guy. I was just messaging him for maybe a week or so, and I didn't give too much of myself, but I just let him do a lot of the talking, a lot of the, all this stuff. And there was stuff that I didn't like, stuff that I didn't appreciate, how he spoke to people, how he spoke about women specifically. And at one point I just said, this is not for me. And he was really confused. He was like, what? He thought it was one occasion that made me feel the way, but I was like, in my mind, I'm like, no, I can't tell him that. But no, over this several days, over this week, there were several occasions in my mind to let me know, what, this person might not be for me. The way they behave, I don't like it. And how they're treating that person, they could probably potentially treat me that way one day. So you have to really just take in information and decide if you want to deal with that, if you want to handle it, or if that's not something that works for you. Those things are really important, just to sit back, observe, look, listen, more than you just kind of pull information out of somebody or ask them to give you their full rundown. Because at the end of the day, you're really deciding, is this somebody I want in my space for the remainder of my life? And if not, then hey, move on and call it a day. I think a lot of times we like to just like show pony and be like, oh yes, I'm this and I do that and and almost like, oh, choose me. But you know what? You're doing the choosing. So if you're doing the choosing, you need to know what you're choosing. Like when I go to Trader Joe's, I'm looking at the ingredients to make sure I want to consume what's in that meal. You know what I mean? I'm not just going out there picking up whatever I see because it look good. I'm looking at what's in it, because if you don't look at what's in it, you're going to get it and be like, oh wait, I realize I don't actually like this. I don't actually want this. So make sure that you are looking and listening more than speaking, and you're doing a lot of observing and taking in information. I would also say watch and also look at how he treats people who can do nothing for him, and vice versa for women. Like, how do they treat people who are not serving them, who are not bringing them anything? Like, how do they treat those people? How do they speak to them? How do they serve them? How do they approach them? Like, what do they do? Because that also will say a lot about when you're together, if you're together, right, in a marriage, when you are not able to contribute as much as you initially did or you could in that space or that season of life, how will they probably treat you? Because it does say a lot. And you might think, I kind of hate this, y'all, when someone's like, and this goes for friendships, anybody. If you see somebody treating another person foul and you think you're the exception, I promise you, today you might be. But a week from now, a month from now, 10 years from now, you probably won't be the exception. So you need to see how this person treats other people who can do nothing for them, because that really does say a lot about who they are as a person. And again, how they would treat you probably when you are not contributing as much as you usually would. And I'm mentioning other people, but you should also pay attention to how he treats himself. If he criticizes himself easily, if he's quick to say, demeaning words or things about himself or other people when things don't go right, that also says a lot. And again, you are not the exception, okay? And mind you, when God asks us to love, he asks us to do what? Love others as we love ourselves. So this person is not good at loving themselves. How good are they going to be at loving you? You know what I mean? Just think about it. Because it's a trickle-down effect. When that man might not have a job and he might not be able to provide, how is he going to treat you? when that man, you know, is having some stress at work, he's coming home, he's tired, how will he treat you? You don't know, because you was too busy worried about his eyes and his cologne and his cute jacket when y'all was dating. I was gonna make this a whole point, but I don't know, it kind of falls into everything else I said. But just like, don't fantasize. You need to focus on being realistic. And I don't want to take out the joy or the fun or the lightheartedness of dating and getting to know somebody. But at the same time, if you're dating just for casual things, then I feel like half of this stuff does not apply. But I think if you're looking for a spouse or a partner, it's really important to just do all this stuff on the front end, so on the back end you're not struggling. I think for me, I tend to be like, oh well, we're attracted to each other, they have a nice job, they seem nice, they're kind, they know Jesus somewhat, and then you kind of go into a spiral of, okay, well, my life can be great. But it doesn't necessarily work like that. Like, you really have to think about, is this somebody that I even enjoy as a person? And then maybe later on, as you're dating some more, what do I want to be in the trenches with them? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this a person that I can handle their low points? If not, then maybe that's something you should back off from. But if you went full speed ahead, full steam ahead, and then now you're like, oh wait, you wasted time, energy, emotion, frustration, like just so many things you probably wasted. So on the front end, if you do that work, if you think about it more logically, I promise you have plenty of time to be cutesy and celebrate Valentine's Day and hold hands and go look into each other's eyes at dinner. Okay, you have plenty of time for that. But you don't have enough time to figure out if this person is it or not it, and then do that every single time for 10 years to figure out if the person is your person or not. What gets me, y'all, is when somebody wastes 7 to 10 years of their life with somebody that they never married, someone that they never had kids with, someone that they just dated. I'm like, you had a roommate. You had a roommate for 10 years, basically, that you liked on a romantic level, and that's crazy. One thing that you will realize is the time is something that you can never, ever, ever get back. So if you're not worried about it, fine, do you, boo. But I care about my time, okay? I care about what I do with my time and who I spend it with. This is the last one, y'all. I'm kind of speaking to myself when I say this, but like, don't settle. And I'm speaking to myself when I say don't settle. Sorry, the sun is playing games per usual. But I'm speaking to myself when I say don't settle, because I know you'll hear, they'll be like, oh, you know, well, this person has a good heart. They love Jesus. They're kind. They're giving. But you might not be attracted to them. They'll be, oh, but attraction can grow. And I agree. Absolutely. Attraction can grow. But I have to think of it this way. When you're marrying somebody, you are marrying them for better or worse. So what you see now might be the better. Okay? It could go way down low, way worse than what it is right now, right? And I have to think to myself, will I still want this person or be attracted to this person if they get worse? You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by don't settle is, okay, if you have to concede on the height, concede on the height. I feel like height is not a big deal. But if you really are not attracted to that person, don't make yourself be attracted. Because I feel like if God is such a big God, he knows what I like, he knows what I'm attracted to, and that person might not have every single thing that I want. That is fine, but I'm not going to sit here and concede on things that I think are important to me or things that I know I like. For example, I have physical preferences, right? They're not mandatory, they're physical preferences. And I have dated outside of those preferences, or just been on dates with somebody. And it's fizzled out very quickly. Why? Because I'm just not as attracted. The thing is, if you really think about it, we're all brothers and sisters in Christ. You are not meant to date or be with every brother or sister in Christ that you see, okay? You're not. You're just not. Proximity is half the time what people choose each other for, is proximity. But I think if I serve such a big God, he knows exactly what I like. He knows exactly what I'm attracted to. He knows exactly what I look for. If I say, oh, he's not if he's not 5'11", if he don't have blue eyes, if he don't got long curly hair, then, oh, he's not for me. Then yeah, I'm probably gonna miss out on what God has for me. But don't settle just because somebody loves God. I think that is important. But at the end of the day, when y'all are together, you'd be like, he loves God, he loves God, he loves God. Like, you can't say that, you know what I mean? So I just feel like, take your expectations and your desires to God and let him weed through that and decide, what's important and what's not. But what I'm saying is, don't settle. Take the things that are important to you and say, God, this is what's important to me. If there's something here that I need to remove, let me know. But this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm hoping for. This is what I'm praying for. And so I'm praying that the man or the woman you have for me is like this. at least somewhat, right? And go from there. But if you are sitting here taking everything off your preferences, and you know what? Sometimes people do that. Sometimes people take their preferences, cross them out, and they get somebody amazing. But I think, again, you have to know yourself. Do not find somebody who loves Jesus that you are not attracted to, that you don't enjoy being around, and say, okay, well, this is for me. Because it don't work like that. It really don't. I think our God is an intentional God, and he's very detailed. So a detailed God is going to know what to do, who to put in front of me, who I should be noticing. Just pay attention to what you like, what you know is important, and what your preferences are, so that when you are out dating or whatnot, you can see what is a non-negotiable, what's not, what is negotiable, and then also let the Lord into that space. That way you're not like blocking yourself from blessings, but you're also not settling, because I just feel like with a big Jesus like mine, I don't gotta settle, okay? Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. These tips definitely have helped me weed through the riffraff and figure out what I want, what I don't want, and it's made me so self-assured that what the Lord has for me will be amazing. And so I just want that for you all. I don't want y'all to have to deal with a whole bunch of craziness, because dating is a mess, Christian or not. So I just want y'all to think about these things at the forefront of your mind when you're out there in this crazy dating pool, and remember that God has got you, okay? He's gone before you, and the person that he has for you is right around the corner. I promise you, you just gotta wait on it. Put in these tips, friend, and wait on it.